What's up? I'm just a random guy talking about fantasy football. I love fantasy football. Been doing fantasy football since 2021, but I really got into it last year. Not an expert. I just know that I disagree with the experts sometimes. And I know I'm not the only one who feels that way. So I just want to, give a casual's perspective into fantasy football. So let's start with my 32nd ranked quarterback team, and that is the Atlanta Falcons. I do not like the Falcons. You have Michael Penix and Tua Tagovailoa. I personally would think it would be best for the team if Michael Penix started, but there is a case, and a very likely case, that one of these two start the season and then the other one takes over halfway through the season or gets injured, because these are both very injury prone quarterbacks. I personally like Penix a little more than Tua because he is younger. He has the chance to really progress compared to where he was last season. I feel like Tua is declining, made very poor throwing decisions, had awful pocket presence, and I don't think he's very good. I have both of them as F plus quarterbacks. If you look down here at this chart, you can see that I have both Tua and Penix as F. Yeah, I just do not like Penix. Very injury prone, very, very low rushing upside. You will get almost zero running production from these quarterbacks. It really caps their ceiling. I don't think Penix is very good. I do think he could become better. I do believe in Penix. I would love to see him succeed, but I just don't know if he will this season. Weapons, we have Drake London, who I have as an A wide receiver. And then we have on the other side across, we have Jahan Dotson as the two outside wide receivers, London and Dotson. I believe Dotson is a D plus receiver. And then over here in the slot, we have Olamide Zaccheaus as a D plus, and newly drafted third round rookie Zachariah Branch. Zaccheaus has very bad drop issues. Had a almost 10% drop rate last year. Branch, he could have potential. He's fast. He was in a very limiting system at Georgia. He could be good in a couple years. You never know. Yeah, I think these wide receiver weapons are, aside from Drake London, very mediocre. Go over to tight end. We have Kyle Pitts. I do believe Kyle Pitts is a top 3 fantasy tight end. I do like Pitts. I'm not a Pitts hater. I'm going to cover. We have Austin Hooper here. He is a D minus tight end. I believe that if Pitts were to ever go down, Austin Hooper would be a very underrated plug and play tight end. Let's talk about the system they in. This is a Kevin Stefanski system. They hired Kevin Stefanski this offseason. I think Kevin Stefanski has a very, very tight end friendly offense. Drake London is obviously a stud. I think he could finish, if he finishes a full season, a top 10 receiver. I just don't believe in these two quarterbacks to throw to this outside guy. We saw with Penix, he has his flashes, but he's just not that great at getting the ball down the field. So it really relies on London being a route runner and run after the catch to really take advantage of this. And Tua is just, I don't really like Tua. I think if you were going for these weapons, I think you go after London if he's available in a later round, and Pitts if he's there in a later round. But otherwise, I'd stay away from this O line. I think they have a B minus O line. They have a they have above average offensive line. Not great, but better than average. I think they have uh, a slightly above average center. I think they have an above average left guard. Jake Matthews, I think, is a slightly above average left tackle. And Jawan Taylor at right tackle. Yikes, I don't like Jawan Taylor. I think he is slightly below average right tackle, but I don't think this should really impact what you think about selecting Penix or Tua. And then finally, we have the backfield. Obviously, Bijan. I believe Bijan is a top three fantasy running back. I think he's the second best receiving running back in the league behind Christian McCaffrey. And he really does. He's such a great rusher. He really does take some pressure off of uh, whoever's starting here. Prioritize backup. I do not think, obviously, because there are two guys that both could be starting. I think if Penix starts, you do not care about Tua. If Tua starts, you do not care about Penix. And I think that because they will both steal production from each other, that neither of them are worth drafting. I believe that Penix is QB 32 and Tua is QB 33. Last year, Penix finished QB 33. He only played like 8 games, and Tua finished QB 25. And I still believe that even this year, you should not be rostering either of these two quarterbacks to be on your team. The consensus, not great, about 30, about in this upper 30 range. I don't think you touch them. I think their ceiling could be a low end QB2 in that middle, that high 20s range. And I think that's strictly with Penix. I think he could be a QB 20 to 24. I think Penix could possibly be rostered, but I don't like either of these guys. But yeah, that was my breakdown about the Falcons and Tua and Penix. I hope you liked it. I was kind of nervous because I've never recorded anything like this before. Um, but I just felt really, I don't know, I just felt different about doing this. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing. I made this graphic, I recorded this audio. I'm gonna put it on my YouTube. I'm gonna put it on TikTok. Uh, I know it's kind of amateurish, but I'm not an expert. I'm just a random guy. So it's not supposed to be super polished or anything. But yeah, appreciate you watching and hope you have a great day.